Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine, going to be getting into the AT&T Byron Nelson top picks and the preview here for you guys. With that, we're going to be covering the core plays and a lineup approach for this week. Once again, I am going to be trying to slim this down, so I'm going to try to take the fluff out of it, just try to get straight into that week for you guys. So real quick, we'll do that recap of the previous week, and then we'll get right into the picks. So just looking at last week, it was a good week. 4 out of our 9 outright bets. Yes, there's 9. It was a little bit bigger on the outright side. That's just because I felt like everyone was a good play on the top end, and they really were. Really strong on the top end there. Hit the outright. 3 straight weeks of hitting the outright. 2 of our core plays, Keegan Bradley and Max Homa, were right there neck and neck throughout the whole tournament. You know, it was just a strong tournament. Could have been a little bit better of a made cut percent, but other than that, just a strong tournament. We'll take those every day of the week. Looking at this week, we do have to look at comp courses a little bit because we only have seen TBC Craig Ranch once, and that was last year. Okay, so we do worry about that. So comp courses, I'm looking at Shriners 2022, Barbasol Championship, because those are easier tournaments. And then Trinity Forest in 2019 for the AT&T Byron Nelson. That one is going to be the one that I think stands out the most. Looking at key stats based off of those comp courses and how last year played, we are looking at scoring stats. So birdie better percentage, par 5 scoring, stroke gained approach. And we also did see that 200 plus yardage stat popping up there a decent amount. So just kind of looking at, we do have some players that do rank out well, course history wise, stat fit wise, recent form wise. If you guys want that sheet, you can go back to it. I'm getting into the picks here for you guys. So I'm going to start off with Will Zalatoris here. Just a strong play. We can see over his last, well, we can't see that because DraftKings doesn't have that, but over his last 3 starts on the PGA Tour, he's went 7th, 6th, and 5th. Okay, finished 26th at the Players Championship, 36th at the API, 26th at the Genesis Invitational, and 2nd at the Farmers Insurance Open, which he probably should have won. Okay, he finished 17th at this event. Yes, he is a Dallas boy. He has that local ties. I do want to caution you against that because I posted this on Twitter. A lot of the golfers that had local ties to Dallas area sucked. Like Jordan was the only one that had a top 10 finish last year, and more than half of them missed the cut. So just caution yourself against that local ties narrative, but I do think it'll be a little bit better this week. But, strong recent form from him, ranks out top 10 in the field in effective scoring, that 9 and 5 stat that kind of tells us just how well a golfer has been playing this year. He's a top 10 specialist in the field. Once again, a top 10 specialist. A specialist is breaking down kind of the key characteristics for that week's tournament. So we got bank greens. We can look at the course designer. We can look at location of the tournament, how the tournament plays. Is it easy scoring, course style? We got that all broken down to specialist for that week, that specialist stat for this week. So we also look at weather as well. Whatever, that's all included in there. Top 10 there, top 10 stat fit, 3rd best in recent form, ranks out 14th best pick in the 95 mile this week. And then just going up a little bit more from him, I also do really like Sam Burns this week. So Sam Burns finished 2nd at this event last year. He finished 14th at the Shriners, which is that comp course that we're looking at. Overall, he's going to be a top 12 specialist. Could be a little bit better of a stat fit. I guess that'd be the worry. He only ranks 23rd in the field. 25th in course history rank. That's because, he had a 72nd place finish at Trinity Forest in 2019, which once again, I do think that is going to be a good comp course to look at, but that still is 2019, so I'm not too worried about that. And recent form ranks 22nd in the field. But guys, that's with a 3rd place finish at the Zurich Classic, a miscut there at the Masters, a 1st place finish at the Valspar Championship. That tells us 2 things. One, he has that upside to go low, which I do think we want to shoot for this week. We want to shoot for upside. I'm kind of treating this like a no-cut event. Because that is how wild and wacky this week is. It is a tournament in which it's going to be low scoring. The cut is going to be like -6, -7. Yeah, sure, they might try to make this tournament play a little bit harder than it did last year, but it is going to play as an easy track this year, unless the weather gets brutal, which it's not looking like. So with that, we see this be a very high variance week, kind of like we saw last week. So with that as it is, I'm kind of just going to be doing a studs and duds approach, dial in the studs I want to be on, and then kind of just go for some of those cheaper value plays that I think might make the cut. And I think that's going to be the good approach to go with. That's going to be the profitable approach to go with this week. So looking at Xander Schauffele, he doesn't have any comp course history or course history here, but he's coming off of that victory there at the Zurich Classic. Now that to me is something that I really like to see. I think that's kind of going to break the funk that he's been in a little bit there, where he hasn't been able to kind of clutch out. So he did miss a cut at the Masters, whatever. Players Championship had the bad draw. Valspar Championship, 12th there. 13th at the Genesis Invitational, 3rd at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We know Xander, okay? He's one of those guys that, when it is a no-cut event, he does really well. We can see kind of just based off of that easy scoring events as a whole, Ranked 7th best in specialist rating. That is really good. 9th best staff in the field. Really strong across the board staff it wise. Nothing that is really bothering me. Top 50 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. And then 7th best in recent form rank. So overall, Xander is ranking out as the 3rd best pick in the 9 to 5 mile this week. And then the last player that I like in the high tier price point range is actually going to be Justin Thomas. So Justin Thomas has been a cut maker. I mean, 12 straight make cuts in a row this season, 7 top 10 finishes. We can look at his recent form, 35th at the RBC Heritage, 8th, 35th, 3rd, just really strong across the board. He actually is the best staff in the field, the best specialist in the field, and ranks out best in recent form rank. Now, I know some of you guys might be scratching your head there with Scotty there as well, winning a bunch of tournaments in a row. I'm looking at the past 10 weeks there, and I'm also just looking at the fact that Justin Thomas has made a little bit more cuts than him. It's very close there though. So whatever. If you did 9 weeks, it might be Scotty. If you did 5 weeks, it would be Scotty. So it just depends on how you look at it. But either way, really strong recent form there from Justin Thomas. This can be a strong play at that price point range. Now we're going to dip down into that mid-tier price point range, that 8.9K to 8.0K price point range here for you guys. So one player that I do really like this week is actually going to be Taylor Gooch. So Taylor Gooch is just at a strong price point, and honestly, I don't really get it. He's made 12 out of 15 cuts on the PGA Tour this season, had a 39th place finish here last year, finished 11th at that Shriners Children's Open, really strong there. So 3 straight make cuts in a row, finishing 41st, 14th, and 18th. I do like that from him. Ranks out top 10 in the field in effective scoring. Once again, that is that 9 to 5 only stat that tells us kind of all we need to know. Looks at strokes gained total, strokes gained to the green, just kind of cut likelihood and whatnot. Top 10 in the field there, so I do like that. Don't really worry about him as a pick. 6th best in specialist rating, 24th best stat fit, 16th in course history rank, and 13th in recent form rank. Overall, ranking out top 10 in the 9 to 5 mile this week. He's a player that I do really like this week, so I'm going to put him into the build. Yes, he's going to be a core play as well. Another play that I really like this week, and I know some people were kind of worried about him because he had a surgery. And the way I took his quotes from what he said is that, he was playing through an injury and that the surgery would only help him. And so last week I kind of I took it more as a good thing last week, but I could see why, you've just been better off not having that information, because all in all, it was just kind of push information. He ended up playing well last week, 15th place finish last week, but I kind of think we just treat it as is. Like, he says he was playing through an injury and he played really well through that injury. If anything, that minor surgery, I don't know what the surgery was, but it seemed like a minor procedure based off of his comments. It doesn't seem to be bothering him. And it might only just help him. Okay. So 15th place finish last week, 18th week before that, 4th the week before that, 27th the week before that. So 4 straight made cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, played really well in the opening round of the Players Championship. Had a 9th place finish at this event last year as well. Okay. He's the 3rd best specialist in the field. I mean, that is absolutely spectacular. I did not see that coming. 16th best staff in the field. Could be a little bit better there. Only ranks out top 15 in that effective scoring stat. 5th best course history with that only 1 start for the course history. That's whatever. But 8th best recent form in the field. That is really good. We can get a top 5 pick in the 9 to 5 model at 8.4. That is a really spectacular price point there. We can already see the build coming out together pretty well. And this is where we're probably going to have to get a little bit risky on the lower end of this build. And that's kind of going to be the worry for me. So after that, I do like Fleetwood, just not as much as the other two. As one is miscut recently was at the Zurich Classic with Sergio Garcia. We saw Sergio Garcia bounce back really well last week. It's a team event. The Zurich Classic is a team event. We don't have to worry about that too much, okay? It is what it is. He missed the cut. They didn't play terribly. They just couldn't make a putt. Okay, before that, 10th, 14th, 35th. So actually, he had been some really strong recent form. He's a guy where if you want to bet him to top 20, top 40, I feel really strongly about that. He's scoring a lot, ranks out top 30 in the field in that. Strokes gained approach has been very solid. His 200-plus yards game is very good. Overall, 13th best specialist in the field, 8th best staff in the field, 12th best recent form. Overall, ranks out top 5 in the 9 to 5 model as well. Yeah, I know he's priced at 9K on DraftKings. I'm kind of cheating there, but I do really like him as a pick this week. Then after Tommy Fleetwood, we are going to go down to Adam Hadwin. So Adam Hadwin priced at 8K. I do think he's a strong play as well. So he had a 6th place finish at the Shriners. Did miss the cut in his most recent event, that team event. Prior to that, 26th, 4th, 7th, 9th. Really strong from him there. Pretty good stat fit, ranking out top 20 in the field. I would like that to be a little bit better, I guess, but top 25 specialist. Now that 6th place finish at the Shriners is really intriguing to me. 16th best recent form in the field. Overall, ranks out top 12 in the 9 to 5 mile this week. So at that price point, it is a good price point for a play like Adam Hadwin, who more likely than not, 12 out of 15 make cuts this season. I think he's going to make the cut this week as well. Now we're going to dip down into that value tier. We got some names that I do really like. They're going to be more GPP plays. So like someone like Mark Leishman, who really, he could have easily had the first round lead last week if it wasn't for that terrible bunker shot. The Beau Hosler bunker shot to really, that really derailed his whole week. It'd be interesting to see if he makes the cut, if he doesn't have that shot, because that, you hit a shot like that where you're -3 playing really well to go to like even. I think he made a quad, maybe just a triple, but that was a terrible shot. Corey Connors really should have stepped into that chip. Okay. And if you haven't seen that, look it up on Twitter. It's pretty funny. But at this tournament last year, finished 21st, third at the Shriners. So he has played well at those easier scoring events. And that's part of the reason why he's ranking out as a top 10 specialist in the field. Still ranks out 11th best in stat fit wise. That's really just because he doesn't have any weakness for this tournament. Really just looking strong across the board. 7th best in course history rank, and then 18th best recent form. So that the problem is going to be his kind of poor recent form. But he does rank out top 10 in the 9 to 5 mile this week. So, a decent play. You can go with that if you will. And I should mention, kind of one of the worries about this tournament this week is literally the fact that you don't know the mindset of a golfer going into this event. We saw that a few tournaments ago with Rory, where he missed the cut. And I don't want to say guarantee, but had last week been this week where he didn't have going in round 2, I think he would have missed the cut. And we kind of saw how Rory was able to grind through that and actually make a cut and I have a top 5 finish last week. And that's kind of the problem with this week, is that I don't think the golfers are going to do that inherently, but it might be something just kind of in the back of their mind where they're not as geared up per shot or per putt. And that stuff could add up throughout a tournament that could lead to a miscut, whereas they typically wouldn't. They might be looking ahead slightly to a major. And that's part of the problem with this week, is that it's already a high variance week with it being a low scoring event. And it's a newer course, so we don't have that information as well. And then on top of that, you don't really know the factor of why a golfer is playing in this event. Are they using it for a tune-up week? That is the issues that we have this week. I don't mind Seamus Power. I do just want to mention him in passing to you guys. So he finished 9th at this event last year, 21st at the Shriners, and his victory came at the Barbasol, and then he also made the cut at Trinity Forest in 2019. So 4 straight made cuts. That's really good there for the comp courses that we're looking at with Seamus Power. I know he's a big letdown last week, and I don't want to trust him again this week. He's kind of been a streaky player. Like I could see him having a good week this week. Not someone I'm going crazy with, but if you want to play him, you can. Okay. Looking at Matt Kuchar, I'm just going back to the well with him. Just been stellar. 49th place finish was kind of terrible last week. Oh well, it is what it is. He made the cut. He did his part for us. I like that. 17th place finish here last week. Dallas local ties. Prior to that, finished 3rd, 2nd, 16th. 4 straight make cuts around the PGA Tour. I like that. Sure, the length might get to him a little bit, but still going to be a quality pick, I think, at that price point range. Going a little bit lower, I actually do really like Lanto Griffin as well. Lanto Griffin finished 6th last week and 15th the week before that. He's always kind of been a decent staff at this whole season, although he only ranks out 40th in the field for this week. That's a little bit of a worry. 32nd best recent form, 17th best in the 9 to 5 mile, finished 6th at the Shriners, decent for that comp course history. I think he's a guy on the upward trend, so I don't really mind him as a pick at 7.7. Once again, these plays in this price point tier, you're not going crazy with, maybe except for Sebastian Munoz, who does seem like he's going to be a made cut once again this week. Sebastian Munoz has been playing some really stellar golf, 7 straight made cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, and they have basically all been top 30 or better finishes. Now, last year he played this tournament, finished 55th. That wasn't good. Missed the cut at the Shriners. He did finish 10th at Trinity Forest in 2019. So, there is that, but 6th best recent form out of anyone in the field. Top 20 pick in the 9 to 5 mile. Overall, just a quality pick at that price point. I don't mind him. You guys can roll with that if you want to. Obviously, that's 7K price point range to me is going to be more of a lineup filler price point range this week. There's plenty of quality plays like CT Pan's been a cut maker. You can go with those guys if you want to. Dipping down into that value tier, I do really like someone like Danny Willett here. Danny Willett has been playing much better as of recent. If you guys want to play him, you can. I'm pulling him up here on my screen. Give me a second here. 21st place finish at the Shriners. 4 straight make cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, finishing 41st, 51st, 12th, 36th. So really strong there. You can see finished 16th on the DP Tour And typically I don't like to target guys coming back for the first start from the DP Tour. Just travel and whatnot, that does slightly worry me, but I think he's going to be a decent pick this week at 6.9. I do think he's going to be worth the risk. If you want to go that low, you can. Another player that I like as a value is going to be Chez Reavie. So Chez Reavie has finished 15th and 13th over his last 2 starts, which is really it. That's all we have going for him, okay? But he's a guy, when he starts to play good golf, he typically plays better. That's really all it is. He doesn't rank out well on the 9 to 5 mile, ranks out 99th. But that's kind of the problem with this pricing tier this week, is that it really drops off. Really drops off at the 8K price point range, so you kind of have to try to get lucky with it, okay? And one player I'm going to try to get lucky with is going to be Taylor Moore, who does have Dallas, Texas ties here. Whether, I don't know if he played college here or if he's a local here, I'd have to look that up again. But been playing okay, I guess, if you want to say okay, you can. I mean, not really much there, to be honest with you. I'm really just banking on the local ties. Doesn't rank out too well in the 9 to 5 model. 69th in the field. I mean, that's really all I got for you guys. I apologize. I wish I had more there for you guys. For me, though, what I really want to do is I want to go back to the well with my boy, Scott Piercy. Okay, Scott Piercy at his price point is really strong, I think. Scott Piercy has been playing really well, 6.7. He was a guy that I gave you guys as a play last week. Missed the cut at the Shriners, missed the cut at this tournament last year, but did finish second at the Trinity Forest tournament in 2019. That's pretty good. Now, he's made 4 straight cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, okay? 37th, 33rd, 41st, and 12th. That's really good there from Scott Piercy. Not ranking out well in the 9 to 5 mile as well. Once again, you're playing this guy in hopes that he makes the cut. Some other players like that you could go with are going to be like Peter Malnati, maybe Mark Hubbard. Adam Schenk has been playing much better. Rory Sabatini. Those are all guys where I don't mind them as plays, but for now I'm trusting Scott Piercy. So let me just pull up this lineup that I have going on my side here, just to show you guys kind of what it's looking at. So we're going to plug in Sam Burns, 82% chance to make the cut, really like him. Willie Z, 80% chance to make the cut, really like him as a pick. Jonathan Vegas, Taylor Gooch. Okay, so we're sitting at 79% chance to get 6 for 6 across the cut line. That's pretty good. Let's toss in Scott Piercy there. I'll have to really scroll down here, so give me a second. Let's see here. 6.7's down there. Okay, so what do we got here? We got 7.4 left over to finish out this build. Let's see who's there. Like CT Pan has been a cut maker. I'm fine with that. So let's just look at this. CT Pan, including there. And, obviously this is a first look build. This will change. But the core plays that I'm going with this week are going to be Sam Burns, Will Zalatoris, Taylor Gooch, and Jonathan Vegas. After that, I will be treating this kind of as a no-cut event. Really trying to hope for that upside, maximize that upside, and maybe just get a make cut out of someone in this price point here. Okay? So what we're looking at, we got a 71% chance to get 6 for 6 across the cut line, about a projection of 514 fantasy points. Projected ownership, that's not there yet. But overall, a decent build around top 25 or better in all the metrics that we're looking at this week. That is okay. That's not great. Wish it was a little bit better, but it is what it is. That's what we got going this week. So not a terrible lineup, but not a great lineup. So hopefully throughout the week it gets better. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the pace. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing. Let's make it 9 out of 10 weeks. I would love that. Okay, 8 out of 10 weeks we've cashed now. Let's make it 9 out of 10. That'd be awesome. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. I'm out. And hey, maybe 4 straight outrights in a row. That'd be pretty sweet as well. All right, I'm out. Let's have a good weekend as always. Let's keep cashing.